the bird sing sweetly in the trees. When I look down from lofty mountain grandeur and hear the brook and feel the gentle breeze, then sings my soul, my Savior God to me. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God to me. How great thou art, how great thou art. Of God, His Son, not sparing, sent Him to die. I scarce can take it in. Then on the cross, my burden gladly bearing, He bled and died to take my sins away. Then sings my soul, my Savior God to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. That sings my soul, my Savior God to thee. How great thou art, Almighty God, how great thou art. I need you, Lord, right now. Yeah, yeah. I must tell Jesus all of my trials. I cannot bear these burdens alone. In my distress, He kindly will help me. Loves and cares for His own. I must tell Jesus. I must tell Jesus. I cannot be. My burdens alone. Jesus alone.
Oh yes, welcome viewers and listeners to Rebel Radio. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today is Monday and we have your program, a list of programs lined up for you. We want to go straight to Guyana right now to talk about media intimidation. You know, yesterday was the election of the Press Association in Guyana. And we have with us right now veteran journalist Adam Harris, who, good afternoon, Mr. Harris.
Hi, good afternoon to you, brother. How are you doing?
Well, I'm supposed to be doing okay.
All right.
Yes. Yes. No, you You are you hearing me?
Very well, very, very clearly.
Okay. Now, we're talking about the intimidation of the media in Guyana. And I saw, read an article from you last week where you you had a situation where you were cited for contempt of court. And
Right.
I couldn't understand, when I read it, I couldn't understand why you were cited for contempt. But tell us, what is the level of, is the media, is the media in Guyana is it being intimidated by the government?
Oh, yes. Now listen, we have some of the most antiquated laws. The law of libel, for example.
Yes.
If you do or say something against a senior government official and he don't like it, he files a libel suit, he gets an injunction, and you can't repeat it. Now, it depends on what happens in the court. That matter could sit there for 4 or 5 years, and you can't repeat it. 5 years down the road, they might just discard it, but they silence you.
Yes.
You have cases where people are visiting or look, I give you another case. The president had a press conference at a forum where he had his party supporters. They had gone there because he promised to give them land. Now you have these supporters sitting down there,
Yes.
and the reporters are there for a press conference. When they start to ask the questions, if the questions are tough one, the supporters, they get involved. What nonsense you asking the man? And that kind of thing. They actually threatened the reporters. So, and the president sat there and said nothing,
Huh.
absolutely nothing.
Yes. No.
You go to, and you're hearing me, right?
Yes, I'm hearing you, and go ahead.
You go to a public function, and generally, reporters will take the chance to speak with these leaders at the end of the function. Perhaps they're going to their car or something. And when you start to ask them questions, some of these leaders, at times, depending on where they are, can say some very, very, I don't know, hostile things to you. Very, very hostile things. Now, when their supporters hear that, they take that as an opportunity to attack you.
Huh. Yes.
Sorry?
Yes.
So we have all of that, man, all of that. The last big attempt they made was to try to get control of the Guyana Press Association. But that's another story.
Yes. Yes. So are journalists being physically abused by supporters of the government?
That has happened. That has happened.
How recent?
But um, it happened in, well, that would go back to 2020. It happened again when some reporters were at a function. It was a ministerial fan out, I think they called it. And people attempted. But you know, the peculiar thing about it is that some of the reporters can defend themselves, you know. So it's not like you would expect them to come out of the woodwork and shoot you and all of that. You know, it would be more like a physical thing. But more often than not, they would stand on the sidelines and abuse you. Or if you're trying to approach somebody, they close ranks and prevent you from getting to the minister or something.
Okay. And the officials are not saying anything to reprimand these people from attacking reporters.
You know, well, it's in their interest because they want to show that they have political support. The Press Association from time to time has written letters, has written to, senior functionaries protesting this kind of a behavior. And there has been no response.
This is disgraceful. So in your
All right.
case, Mr. Harris, what was
Eh?
in your case? Why were you cited for contempt?
You know, there was a vehicle importer. He was in the churchyard, in the courtyard, sorry, I said churchyard. And a man moved to the court because this importer wanted to levy against the man to get back his vehicle. So the man goes to court, and the judge granted an injunction. Oh, I said, I was sitting in my office when I got the news. The man came to complain to the newspaper. And I said, but this sounds irregular because the man is in the court compound. This man applies to you for an injunction. The least you could have done is call this man to give him a hearing before you grant the injunction. That is what I wrote. So I go back to my office, and the judge, this was the next day, get his secretary to call me. Adam, the judge would like to see you. So I thought it was a gaff. It's not any formal notice and all of that. So I turned up for the gaff. When I went to the court, there is the judge sitting down in his office, and the secretary says to me, the judge will be with you shortly, or the judge will see you shortly. When I wait to see the judge comes out, go up at the top of his desk and call the court to order and begin to read contempt charges to me. So I said, I don't understand this. I wasn't charged. I wasn't invited to the court. I mean, I don't even have legal representation. So he says, well, you're going to come back with a lawyer tomorrow. That was it. The matter went on for a week, and eventually I had to write that I meant no contempt to the court and all of that. It was kind of surprising, man.
So what happened to the case? What happened to the case?
I had to write a letter saying that, what do you call it? That I meant no disrespect to the court, and I apologize if there was any rudeness, and or if there was any apparent disrespect and all of that, and that was it.
So after you wrote that letter, the judge threw out the contempt of case?
No, case. he closed the case.
Mr. Harris, it sounds like a joke to me.
Honest to goodness.
Yes.
And in Guyana, contempt, you don't have any appeal. If a judge says 6 weeks, that's it. If a judge said 2 weeks, that's it. You can't appeal it. So I said, bye, I'm going to jail here. And that was it.
Yes. So you, the press in Guyana, how would you describe the relationship between the press and the government in Guyana? What is that like?
We have a very fragmented press. You have some media houses that are openly pro-government. You have some media houses that try to be fair. And you have some media houses that are firmly in the corner of the opposition. So it is not like you know, and that's all because of how you have the social media, the trained and all of that. Anybody with a camera, a phone, sorry, suddenly believes he's a journalist or reporter and he posts anything and what have you.
Yes.
So when we talk about the relationship, the government-owned media, for example, they just don't look at they don't look at anything else. Only government news. You do not get a line. You don't get a voice, nothing at all in that.
Yes.
So that's how it goes. And if you, the other media houses, attempt to do that, since the government issues the license, one of the things they would always do is say, find some class or something and revoke your license so you can't broadcast or nothing.
No, this is terrible, man. This is terrible. This is terrible. This is something that we as journalists can't allow to continue.
Right.
No. The press, the elections were held yesterday, and
yes,
what the incumbent president, what there were changes in the
no, oh no.
Yeah.
You know, let me tell you something. The people in the government media wanted to take control. And we said, hey, that's not going to happen.
Yes.
So we went there and we had discussions. The challenger made some statements that were libelous, to say the least. You know, he attacked the incumbent and all of that. But we had to deal with him. We had to deal with him. He loaded up himself with people working with the government media. And the next thing you know, is that some of the people he go with vote against him. And he don't know who vote against him. Because these people working in the government media, and they don't want to be so identified because they feel they could lose their job.
Okay. Well, it is very sad. I hope I can speak with the president, but we would like to for example, the press association in Jamaica. I am sure that they would be interested to find out what is happening so that they can do whatever they can in order to assist the journalists in Guyana to protect themselves. The freedom.
Yeah, we write to them, you know.
Yes.
We are writing to them.
Right. Okay. Well, I want to thank you, and I am going to try and speak with the president. I want to thank you very much for your contribution, and I want you to know that I am going to talk to you again because we have to keep the information flowing out, and we have
All right.
Yes, and Rebel Radio platform is a platform that we will use in order to defend our colleagues in Guyana. Thank you very much, Mr. Harris.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
And thank you, my brother. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes. That was senior Guyanese journalist, Mr. Adam Harris, telling us about what is happening with the media and the government in Guyana. And certainly what he has just reported is unacceptable. I'm going to try and talk to the president of the Guyana Press Association. Stay tuned. Let us take a break.
My love. Hardware Supplies is having a massive civil servant sale in celebration of all civil servants.
Store-wide discounts and specials on new arrivals and best-selling items for all your home renovations.
Best quality items at the lowest prices island-wide.
You will love the savings.
Just show your ID and you're good to go.
So come visit us at 279 Spanish Town Road, 4 South Camp Road, 8 Red Hills Road,
or online at toolsja.com.
Tools!
The Lion King of Hearts.
Supplies is having a massive civil servant sale in celebration of all civil servants.
Store-wide discounts and specials on new arrivals and best-selling items for all your home renovations.
Best quality items at the lowest prices island-wide.
You will love the savings.
Just show your ID and you're good to go.
So come visit us at 279 Spanish Town Road, 4 South Camp Road, 8 Red Hills Road,
or online at toolsja.com.
Tools!
The Lion King of Hearts.
Yes, welcome back to Rebel Radio. And we have with us now the president of the Guyana Press Association, Miss Nazima Ragobert. I hope I have pronounced your name correctly, Miss.
Yes, you did. And thank you very much for having me from Georgetown, Guyana.
Yes, thank you very much. No, I understand, that the media workers in Guyana are being pressured. They're having a hard time doing their jobs. The government, you have government officials who are abusing and making it difficult for journalists to operate. Could you tell us what is the state of the media, how journalists are operating?
Thank you very much. To put it into context, I'd like to first start saying that the media has always been very divided, and that is a reflection of the division in the country. There are two main political parties, the People's Progressive Party Civic and the People's National Congress. The People's National Congress is actually part of a coalition of parties that would have had the seat of government between 2015 and 2020. And the PNC would have been in government in the 70s and 80s, and the PPP in the 90s into 2000, right, and as recent as 2020. And that division has sort of seeped its way into different organizations and different parts of the society and obviously the media. So there is a lot of pressure right now on media workers, not only to report the truth and the facts, but the media, you can tell there is some amount of division, even though they're independent. There are houses that are heavily supported by the government and the state, but the narrative is usually one that stays away from highlighting anything, including corruption, anything related to the government. Then there are some media houses who are only going to highlight certain negatives about, government and country, and there are a few independent voices. The Guyana situation with press freedom, we have actually dropped 26 points in the latest press freedom index. And while we at the Guyana Press Association, the organization I'm a part of, do not contribute to the index, if you know about the index, it's usually monitored by the Reporters Without Borders, and they have their methodology, both quantitative and qualitative. And the government was not too pleased about that, particularly because we had highlighted over the past couple of months different aspects of issues that really threaten freedom of the press For one, there was a reporter at Kaichor News who, yes, was attending a press conference. The president had called a press engagement after an outreach, and it was amidst his supporters. And while she was asking a question, she was heckled continuously by the supporters. We had condemned that exercise. We had condemned that heckling of the reporter, and that saw a barrage of attacks on the reporter and myself. And so there have been incidents like this that really affect the work of media, affect the work that we do. Since 2020, for instance, we have had no post-cabinet press briefings by this government. We have had very little engagements with the government itself. The president has had press conferences, but they're one and far apart. Ministers generally don't speak to some media houses. They have Facebook pages, they have specific programs where they go live, and they have specific media interviews that they do. And the vice president, for instance, speaks to a social media commentator every single month, and his press conferences are one and far apart. And that generally has led to the type of ranking, I believe, the country has had when it comes to press freedom. We have been dealing with a number of issues. For instance, the advertising pie for media has been reduced. You had those problems, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. But now, even after the so-called heightened period of the pandemic, there's still issues like that affect media houses and the work they do. And these are all things that we've been trying to address as a media and an association.
Yes. Now, Ms. Raggleberry, tell me something. Have you sought the assistance of the Caribbean media to protect the association in Guyana, protect the journalists in Guyana?
Yes.
Yes.
And thanks for asking that. We are actually a member of the Association of Caribbean Media Workers. Myself and President of PAJ, Mr. Milton Walker, sit on that association also. And as soon as those things were highlighted, we had, especially the threat young woman at Kaichor News, who also has been cyberbullied, was so traumatized from what has happened. She's had to stay off her job for a few weeks. We had actually reached out to our Association of Caribbean Media Workers, who have been very helpful, not only condemning what has happened, but they've also reached out to our international partners, many of whom we have a very good relationship with, and they recognize the Guyana Press Association. And a couple of things that I can't talk about here has already started to happen.
Yes, yes. No, so let me ask, what is explain this to me. I understand that there are some divisions in the media in Guyana, meaning you have media houses that support the government, others don't, media houses that support the opposition. Explain those relationships for me.
It is a very, very interesting thing. So you have media houses that are actually owned by supporters of both political parties. There's a lot of ethnic division that plays out, that see organizations and bodies, even like the media, being divided. For instance, let me give you the state newspaper and television is actually controlled by whichever political party is in power. And we've actually lived through those types of controls. You see the types of letters that appear in the column, the type of reporting. Sometimes there are no right of reply. The mischievous reports targeting people. We've seen the state media on the both political parties being used like that. And then there are private entities who are outrightly owned by supporters of different political parties, and that ultimately affects the content that goes into the news and positions on issues.
Yes. But generally, the relationship between journalists, the journalists, whether they are working for whatever media houses they are working with, the relationship between journalists is not hostile, it is cordial.
Generally, the media, the journalists, the media workers have had very cordial relationships. What tested this relationship, I think, the relationships recently was our Guyana Press Association elections, which were held yesterday, and saw my re-election. We had a very contentious few weeks with claims being made about myself, claims being made about our membership database. The person actually who was vying for the position of presidency had claimed that we had bloated the list, and there were allegations I would not wish to get into here. So we had, I would say, you could have seen some amount of division, but altogether, people came out at our elections and were very cordial with each other and respected the process. I think for a very long time, we have been part of, I would like to say, cook up rice and curry, and pepper pot and Chinese food, and biscuits. But, you know, the media have respected, the media workers have respected each other throughout the years. And I was particularly not pleased with what I saw happening recently, because there was a lot of social media bullying, cyberbullying, that type of thing. But, you know, I think we can only get stronger from this. And we have a lot of work to do as an association to fix some of the issues that were raised.
Okay. Talking about those issues, I read a report, and this is about the elections now. I read a report where a journalist went to the court trying to block the elections, but I couldn't understand.
No, let me correct that. Let me correct that. That person is not a journalist.
Okay.
That person is actually a social media commentator who has had a Facebook page, and he has opened what he calls a media house, and he decided that he wanted to claim that we had blocked him from membership, which is not anything like that.
Yes.
He is claiming that he's a journalist. He's not. He's actually had other businesses. He's been convicted for fraud. And, you know, I think that is one of the discussions that we've been having about social media commentators and how do we treat with them as communicators. Our constitution, which dates back to 1945, actually speaks about journalists, videographers, and photographers who earn the majority of their income from news gathering and journalism. And there are other categories for associate membership.
Yes.
However, this person has been calling himself, has just recently actually given himself a title as journalist. And the court did not entertain. He was asking for our association, the court, to do a judicial review, but that matter was thrown out.
Yes. Okay. So apparently he was trying to insert himself on the profession.
Yes, that is what that is what he's been trying to do. Look, I'm going to be very frank with you.
Yes.
Um, we there is freedom of expression, and it has to be respected. People
Yeah.
have access to social media; they can go live. Um, makes the interface with the public a lot more easier.
Yes.
What you and I would know, there are certain responsibilities and ethics
Yes.
that we practice that distinguishes us
Yes.
from other groups. And those are serious things that we have to take into consideration when other groups are making claims that they're doing media work.
Okay. Okay. So that person is out of the way now, right? No. But
Yes, he was. I don't even think he was in the way.
yes.
What I think there was a lot of political support for him to challenge the GPA. One, to discredit it and to attack it, and to discredit me and attack me personally.
Yes. Yes. So the elections yesterday went smoothly.
It went smoothly. I had maintained that I was not going to address any of the claims that were being made in the public domain, because those claims affected our process and affected things like our members. We live in a society where even members of the media who are members of the Guyana Press Association, if they work with certain entities, that cannot be made public. And we have to ensure we protect the safety of our journalists. The association meeting went ahead. Questions were asked, they were answered. We read a list in which nobody on the floor objected to the names. And we went ahead with our elections. Myself, the position of president was the only contested position. I got 70 votes, and the challenger got 25, and all the other rest of positions were unchallenged. We have a new executive, and obviously, based on our interaction with our colleagues yesterday, a new mandate for our 2-year term. My colleagues come from all different backgrounds and all different agencies. I was not particularly pleased that for the first time in a long time, we were not able to have somebody from the state media sitting on the executive, but we will discuss co-opting somebody to have them there with us. And we have to get down to a lot of serious business. Like many of the press associations across the region, this is a volunteer job. We do not get paid, and it is a very risky job. It is a very demanding job. And I'm very proud of my colleagues stepping forward to take up the positions that they took.
You say it is a risky job. Explain some of the risk that journalists faced in Guyana.
A lot of it recently had to do with a lot of mudslinging and libelous statements. The attacks, I can tell you, were very indecent and I dare say criminal. We have had in the past persons who've been physically attacked. We had a columnist who had feces thrown on him. We have had people who have been threatened at certain political rallies, for instance, and singled out. The vice president has singled me out since March at every single press conference he's had, saying I'm an anti-PPP or pro-PNC or things like that. And you know how those things can affect your work as a journalist. I think everybody recognizes that politicians and other groups can criticize persons without the extents that we have seen happening here. And those are generally some of the issues we've had recently. While there have been no physical attacks of recent and so on, I mean, the heckling is something that has to be condemned. No reporter should feel uncomfortable in any political atmosphere. There was a PNC returning officer for, not returning officer, PNC candidate for local government elections who was verbally abusive to a reporter from the state media. I mean, those things are uncalled for and should not happen. So,
Yes.
those are just some of the instances of what has been happening.
Yes, yes. No,
I must say we're also heading into local government elections in June.
right?
So, there's a lot of heightened campaigning and politicians are coming out and they're having their public engagements and stuff like that. So the media has to be very, very cognizant of all the realities. And we've said to people, do not ensure that you're not going to high risk areas, because how Guyana is, some villages are pro X party and pro Y party. So, we've asked that they go into certain areas as a group, take certain precautions, and we will be having our local government training, media training with the Guyana Elections Commission before that elections.
Okay. What are our journalists having difficulty gaining employment in Guyana?
We actually need people. Journalism here, and I dare say across the region, is a very low-paying job. A lot of people actually leave the profession to go into public relations or other fields in communication,
Yes,
and there's
of
actually
course.
been a high demand for people to enter journalism. Even at the university level, I gave a talk last week. Students there had cited the low pay when they were, they had their odd interactions with media houses, and it is a very demanding job. So those are the cons against us, and people generally, even if they come and spend. We've always maintained we had a high turnover of media workers. Even if they come and spend 2 years, 3 years, they move on to better paying jobs and jobs with less demands. And even with the incidents, I've mentioned, and the cyberbullying, it makes it difficult for people to want to go to front. As we said, nobody wants to go to front and deal with things like this when they happen.
Yes. Now let me so when for example the press association then would try to have discussion with government ministers or government, read the abuse of their supporters. Their supporters abusing journalists at press conferences. Do you find it possible to have discussions with the officials about this?
In some instances, there are instances where reporters have raised with us, look, this has happened, and I'd like you to address it. And that has happened. The political parties have said, we will address it, and this is the remedy. So, for instance, the attack recently, the verbal attack of the state media reporter, the PNC candidate did apologize, issue an apology to her. Government has been a little bit more hands off on the situation. In fact, the Minister of Public Affairs, who has responsibility for media, issued a statement in support of the hecklers at the event with the young reporter. So there have been instances like that.
Okay. Well, well, you have been in touch. You and the president of the Press Association of Jamaica, Mr. Walker. You said both of you are on a board.
So we sit on the Association of Caribbean Media Workers together. We were elected in March. I previously served on that same organization as president, and I'm now vice president.
Okay. So I would, in that being the case, then he would be fully aware I spoke with him recently. We had a discussion, an interview, and he raised the issue of the what the Guyanese journalists in Guyana were enduring. He raised that point. Yes. But
Well, yes, he is very, very aware.
yes. But what I find strange, Miss Ragobir, is that the Prime Minister, the President, has not come out condemning these verbal assault on journalists by his supporters.
No, because what you see happening is when the PNC candidate verbally attacked the state media reporter, that worked in their political favor, and that was condemned. When issues arose with them, they were silent about it. Like the president has never said any thing about what happened at the event. He has not condemned the cyberbullying on myself and the reporter. The vice president, interestingly, said that the cyberbullying of the reporter should not have happened. And on that same day, the post that appeared on a very suspicious Facebook page was removed, but the attacks on me continue, and the government has not said anything about it.
Yes. And I saw recently where one of your colleagues, Mr. Adam Harris, was taken to court. I spoke to him not too long ago. He was telling me about him being taken to court, and the judge called him and cite him for contempt of court. And,
okay. I am. Yes, this was a while back.
Yes. Well, he said that matter was it petered out in the courthouse, that the judge later, dropped the charges. But, I find it...
Charges, yeah.
Yes, I find it... do you have any issues with the courts,
we don't, there were instances where there were reports done on preliminary inquiries that should not have been done. And PIs are not reported on in full. And so some reporter probably who was sent to cover something at the court didn't know. We've had issues where victims' names were reported on, and all of those were corrected. And there's some issues where, like Mr. Harris mentioned, there were some contempt matters, but the editors were called in front of the judge to deal with whatever it was, and the charge did not, go through. And so there's been a very good relationship with the judiciary. Actually, the judiciary has a protocol and communication office in which we send requests. We get a lot of information from them. We've been able to access the courts virtually, especially during the pandemic and our 5-month-long elections. So there's sporadic instances of where these things happen, but I wouldn't say they are regular or they have strained the relationships between the media and the judiciary.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you very much, and I would like you to know that I, being a former president of the Press Association, I want you to know...
Yes, that's what I heard.
Yes, I want you to know that this platform is wide open for us to discuss what is happening to the media in the Caribbean and in Guyana, because we must protect freedom of expression. We must. And therefore...
I agree, and I thank you for this.
Yes, and we are going to talk again.
I thank you for this opportunity. Yes, what I'd also like to refer you to, there are 2 key reports that were done last year. One is the State of the Caribbean Media Report that looks at the state of the media in the Caribbean, several English-speaking countries, one Dutch, Suriname,
Yes.
and I think we did include Curacao, Aruba, Bonaire. And we examined several issues about the state of press. We looked at how the pandemic affected the media, access to information, and it's a very comprehensive report. And that
Okay.
was done by the Association of Caribbean Media Workers.
Yeah.
There is also the situation report on misinformation and disinformation, which
Yes.
was done by the Public Media Alliance and supported by UNESCO. And I have worked on it as ACM and also the Media Institute of the Caribbean. And it examines misinformation, disinformation, how different groups have been dealing with it, some of the challenges,
Yes.
some of the recommendations, and it deal with things like trust in the media.
Right.
And I think those are two vital reports that
what you can do-
examine
what you can
what
do
has
for
been
me-
happening in the Caribbean when it comes to the media and some of the issues that we've been facing.
Okay.
And it's interesting because different countries have different issues. We've had different challenges, and there are also some common challenges. And of course, there have been little wins that have been, good for us.
Okay. Want to thank you very much, Mr. Agobert. What you can do is you can WhatsApp me how I can access those two reports, and I will
Not a
certainly-
problem. I'll do that.
Thank you very much. That is the president of the Press Association of Guyana, Ms. Adam Ragobert. And that was, talking about what is happening in the Guyanese press. We are going to take a break now. Let us take a break.
Tools Hardware and Supplies is having a massive civil servant sale in celebration of all civil servants.
Store-wide discounts and specials on new arrivals and best-selling items for all your home renovations.
Best quality items at the lowest prices island-wide.
You will love the savings.
Just show your ID and you're good to go.
So come visit us at 279 Spanish Town Road, 4 South Camp Road, 8 Red Hills Road,
Or online at toolsja.com.
Tools.
The Lion King of Hardware. Where do I go? Tell me now. Leaving below in this whole sinful world, only a comfort I can't afford. Striving alone to face temptation so. Where do I go but to my Lord? Where do I go? Where do I go? Seeking a refuge for my soul. Needing a friend to save me in there. Where would I go but to my Lord? Father God. Well, Lord, your love has made me strong, and for that, I'm all yours. Well, Lord of mercy. Oh, yeah. Oh God, I'll never find the words, the Lord, to tell you how I feel. Dear God, mere words could not explain. Yeah, gracious Lord, you held my life within your hand, created everything I had, taught me how to live again. Only you care when I needed a friend, making my promise. Oh, this song is for you, filled with gratitude and love. Oh Lord, I thank you. Ever you. I sing this song for. Oh yeah.
Tools, Hardware and Supplies is having a massive civil servant sale in celebration of all civil servants.
Store-wide discounts and specials on new arrivals and best-selling items for all your home renovations.
Best quality items at the lowest prices island-wide.
You will love the savings.
Just show your ID and you're good to go.
So come visit us at 279 Spanish Town Road, 4 South Camp Road, 8 Red Hills Road,
Or online at toolsja.com.
Tools.
The Lion King of Hardware. When you have trouble, don't cry. Oh no, no. Just remember that God is standing by. Hold on, yeah.
welcome back to Rebel Radio. You know, today is when we talk about Be Sure. Be Sure is the program we have to provide information for our listeners and viewers on how to protect themselves. What we must do to protect and prepare ourselves for a rainy day. And we have a well-known insurance salesman, Lloyd Brim, with us. But today we are going to try and inform. We are going to inform our viewers and listeners on steps, remedies that clients who feel that they have been wronged by insurance companies. The remedies available for them to have their complaints addressed. And also what the insurance companies do, what they do in order to ensure that clients are protected and clients are serviced properly. And those that we are going to be going into those issues this evening to make sure that the clients' interests are protected. Well, before we go into that, we just I had a very interesting discussion with two journalists out of Guyana a while ago, and based on what they told me, that journalism in Guyana is being abused by state officials. Journalists are having difficulties performing their jobs in Guyana, and we can't allow that. We have to protect freedom of expression. Freedom of expression is one of the central pillars of a democratic country, a democratic society. And we must ensure that nothing is done to prevent or to impede freedom of expression. We have to do that. And, the State of Caribbean media I have two reports. I'm going to be going into those two reports, to look at. And we have to discuss the State of Caribbean media. We are fighters for freedom. Journalists, we are fighters for freedom of expression. And we are not going to give up that fight. We are not. We are not at all. It's our duty to protect, and whoever is trying to stop that, trying to put up roadblocks in our way, we are going to fight against it. Yes. Welcome, Brother Brim. Welcome to our weekly program, Be Sure. And as I indicated earlier on, that we'll be discussing how we protect the interest of clients of the insurance industry. And we know they have strong regulatory bodies. So the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Desmond. Good evening to you and the listeners. What we want to look at right now is a very important area, and you can link it with how you protect your investments, because that's a major part of most people's investment. Now, when a life insurance contract, when a client, as we put it, buys insurance, he has to sign documents. And these documents form a major part of the contract. The reason for people having contracts in their business transactions, their plans, etc., they want to be sure there is a route should any dispute come along the way, that first the contract has the guidelines set out, and secondly, there are ways to come to a resolution. Now, let's look at when a resolution, when a problem comes up and you want it to be resolved. Since it's a legal contract, well, naturally, you have the courts you can refer to. But going to court is not the first option. The company wouldn't want it to be the first and only option, and neither should the life insured, because it's the two parties that are in the contractual agreement. So, any dispute that arises, any dispute that parties are in, it needs a resolution. There must be avenues. The person or the party who feels that they are being wronged or unfairly treated and losing their investment, the party has avenues, and the very first place to start the discussion is with the company. The company has different avenues. The company reaches out, and the company does all that is reasonably expected of a legal party, a party to a legal agreement. So the company has reinstating the policy, it has redating the policy, and it has different committees within the company. For example, I am working with a client now, or a beneficiary. The life assured died, and to settle the claim, the company, it's laid out in the contract what documents are required to settle the claim when the person dies. Now, the insured person has died, and the beneficiary rightfully, naturally, legally is claiming the payment. Now, the company has gotten the death certificate and the other documentation, but the medical officer is asking for a report, a medical report, and the beneficiary is upset.
Whose medical officer is that? The company's
insurance company's medical officer is asking for a report, a medical report. Now the beneficiary is a bit upset because they want to have the funeral and to bring closure. So the doctor says, give us a report, send the necessary forms, etc. The medical report was collected and submitted. Now there's a committee, one of the committees inside the company. That committee looks at the claims and say, yes, let's go, or no, let's get X. Let's get X or Y in addition. The eagerness of the beneficiaries wanting to collect and to get their things done. They don't stop to consider that the company wants to be fair. The company must be fair, looking about its interests and the client's interests.
Yes.
It is not, you're not going to just get the company boom and stamp and say that's it, you go ahead. They have to do their investigation and to guarantee that, as we say, no scamming around here.
Yes.
Everything straight and above board.
What I would like you to do for our listeners is to outline. Well, you said a while ago that the companies have their mechanisms,
Absolutely.
internal mechanisms which they
Absolutely.
use to check and verify and make sure everything is okay. But for example, if a client has a problem with a company, let us say that it is like settling a claim, or they have just explain what are the steps the client must take and how are these steps dealt with by the company.
The contract has it laid out, depending on what the situation is, what documentation the company needs to honor the claim.
Yes.
In the insurance language, it says the company gets a good discharge. It discharges its responsibility and its commitment. When it is satisfied, the life assured signed up the different application documents, they were approved and everything. Now is pay time. Person has died. The company wants to be sure the points set out in the contract saying, for example, if somebody commits suicide,
Mm-hmm.
what is the procedure? One powerful point, if the company wants to be sure that you didn't buy the policy with suicide in mind so that your family can get this claim. So it wants to be sure what conditions you died under, and if you on your application form, you remember me saying, and I say it one more time, that don't lend people your health card. You could say you're never affected by any of this issue, and then that's the issue from which the person now eventually died.
Yes. But
they really were not affected, you know.
But tell us about the point you brought up a while ago. So if a client commits suicide,
yes,
how is that dealt with?
Well, first thing, if the policy is less than 2 years, the investigation is going to be more in-depth.
Yes.
If it's over 2 years, it's not as in-depth, except if you had a rider. We spoke about riders. If you had a rider that said the accidental death and dismemberment, and so the person's claim, if the person's claim is breaking that contractual agreement, it says before 2 years, what we have is early claim. When somebody dies in less than 2 years, they start looking around for early claims. And if it's a police matter, then of course it has to be, the various reports have to come in. People can die. It appears like it's suicide, but it's not suicide. Or it can appear like it's accident and it's not accident. That is why it says 90 days after accident. If you die up to 90 days after the accident, accidental death claim has to be paid.
Yes. But what I'm trying to find out for myself too is that here's a client who bought an insurance policy, and the policy is 5 years old, but the client commits suicide. It has been proven that death was as a result, was a suicidal death. The question I'm asking, if the company honors the claim in those circumstances?
Absolutely. Absolutely, because remember, people do these things because of different conditions, and these conditions never existed at the time when the contract was put in force. Whatever caused the person to do that. You can get mentally ill just like how you can get physically ill.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Okay.
all of this is laid out in the contract, and you simply look at it, look at the conditions, and the committee that deals with debt claim will make the decision.
What is there's a regulatory office that deals with insurance companies. It was once this superintendent of insurance. That office still exists?
It has been replaced by the FSC.
Okay.
In the days of the commissioner, you never had things like money laundering and these cute ways of creating problems and doing illegal transactions. So we're moving now from the person die. The documentation is examined, the certificate and the beneficiaries. All of these things are cleared.
Yes.
Because people will come and want to collect the money, although they are not the beneficiaries, you know. They believe that they are. But when the whole thing is read, the will or so on is read, then that person is not the beneficiary, and that's the person who go out and spread rumor.
But tell me something.
Because the company can't pay.
But usually the beneficiaries on insurance policies, they are included in the policy, don't they?
No, it just says that they are the people to get the proceeds of the claim.
Yes.
That's what it says. But I'm saying now that people turn up claiming to be beneficiaries when they are not.
Yes.
When all of that is cleared up, the people who came pretending to be beneficiaries, these are the people who spread the rumors and things. But the company wants to pay the claim. The company is financially able to pay any claim that comes based on an insurance policy. So if it's 100 million, the company have it there to pay. And this is where the regulatory agencies come in. I'm going to spend some more time on them, but this is where the regulatory agencies come in. And they monitor the books of the company to guarantee, because our insurance policy is a liability you're creating, the insurance company creating. And liabilities need. And then now, this is where we can talk about what the company invests in, how the company goes about it. And when we're talking about the investment mix, the estate, how the finances are, policyholders can come in, wait until the office open, walk in, and want to get large amount of cash off their insurance policy. So the company has to have a proper mix between what they invest in, like stocks, government papers, bonds, and so on, and have enough liquidity that they can meet these type of claims.
So actually insurance companies, when they sold policies, that they too invest the premiums then.
Yes.
They invest these premiums on the investment market.
It has an investment department.
Yes.
It has an investment department.
So the insurance companies actually invest in other areas.
Absolutely. We spoke some time ago about what benefits the insurance companies bring to the financial health of the company, the country, the economy.
Yes.
And anywhere investment is done, it brings positive economic figures, like the employment rate, the minimum wage, whether you invest in agriculture, whether you invest in real estate, whether you invest in transportation, whether you invest in the stock market, because they have to have the returns to attract, to keep those who are there as in with investment policies. And it also has to perform in such a way that it attracts more policyholders.
Okay.
Now, let's look at it now. The company reaches out first. Like all discussions, all negotiations, the company and the insurance client can fail to come to an agreement.
You mean you're talking about in the case of a dispute?
Yes, that's what we're talking about.
Right.
How the company reaches out. We said reinstate your policy, redate your policy, just to make sure, be sure that you, the policyholder, end up in the positive end. But disagreements go on, and you can't agree on it. The policyholder still feels that he's on the losing end. The policyholder can appeal to the regulatory agency. And the regulatory agency has the power to review the case, investigate what the situation is, and literally order the company, make a ruling that is binding on the company and on the life assured. So if the ruling goes against the policyholder and in the favor of the company, of course, that is a big turnoff. That is how people hold up the myth. You spoke earlier, you asked me to speak earlier on the myths of life insurance. They believe that the company don't want to pay, but a company that doesn't pay claims have nothing to attract new policyholders.
Yes.
Does nothing. In fact, I tell you, I'm working on a death claim now for a client of mine, just helping her get the documents together, getting it into the claims department, and all things come together to make a decision. She signed off on some insurance for herself because she didn't have any. She just bought it for her parents. And just because the company is asking for this report, medical report, she put a hold on her life insurance, her own personal insurance. She have children. She going to be retired one day. So she's suspending her benefits, personal benefits, to wait and see whether the company is going to approve the payment. No confidence.
Yes.
There's no confidence in the company.
Yes, put it, I would say low confidence.
So we touch on the company, how the company reaches out. How the company reach out to solve dispute in an amicable way. We haven't made it there. The next place to go is the regulatory agency. The regulatory agency set out the conditions, because all financial institutions are subject to money laundering rules.
Mm-hmm.
And as the person in the field who has to face all of these different situations,
Yeah.
once per year, the regulatory agencies demand and instruct the life insurance companies that all salespersons have to do the money laundering act, have to go through it and tell you some of the things that you want to look out for. I wouldn't really go into all of them, but just as a quick example. a life insured comes with a large financial deposit, wanting to deposit it on the investment side of his policy. Now, in 3 months' time, 6 months' time, sometime that is too short for acceptable amount of interest to grow on the investment, the person come and want to take it back.
You want to take back the money?
Want to take back the money that was invested. And with the fees and other costs taken from that deposit, the person will end up actually losing. But they're ready to take it. They say, it's okay, don't matter, give me back. So we know what laundry mean. And if they launder anything, that means they're washing it and making it clean. So that's not a genuine investor, that's not a genuine. So the regulatory agencies demand that such activities are reported.
Yes.
To make sure it's not money laundering, no scamming, no.
So that they
like
can check it out.
So the agencies, the regulatory agency can check it out, and the company can get into trouble if suspicious transactions are not reported.
Okay.
They set those rules. They examine the dispute, if one arises with the company and the insured person, and make a ruling on it. Now, the persons who, the company or the life insured,
yes,
also has the courts to go to because they are in contractual agreement. So they can take it to the court. But the lawyers don't work free. So you don't want to incur an expense if you are in great doubt that you might not come out on the positive side. So you can go to court. What my friend call it, court of law. You can go to the court of law and seek redress.
yes,
See? But there are other dispute resolution methods that are available. So wherever disagreement, sure it said, the parties involved need to choose the appropriate method of solving the dispute. And many are available. In the case that we are examining now, the life insurance disagreements, it is the regulatory agency that has the authority. It actually represents the government. It is there to ensure that the companies operate under the laws and regulations. There are age groups, age bands that that insurance companies work with.
okay, I see.
So you as I have it right now, you don't insure persons over a certain age. Once they get to a certain age, they can't buy any insurance again. Once they get to a certain age, some of the riders are no longer relevant.
Okay.
You cannot get it. If you do an education plan, if you do an insurance contract for a minor, you cannot get accidental death and dismemberment on that policy. If you're buying as the parent or the guardian, you're buying insurance, whether for yourself or for somebody in whom you have insurable interest, you have to show where your income comes from.
Yes.
You cannot just buy a premium of 50,000, 60,000, 30,000. Sometimes even lower than that. You have to show what's your source of income.
To pay the
And if
premium.
it is not satisfactory, the company is not compelled to insure you. There are rules and regulations as to what conditions, the type of information, for example, that you must present,
Yes.
the type of information and the evidence. So you want birth certificate, you want your address, and proof of address is a part of it. And they have different identification that they accept to say, yes, Desmond Richards is Desmond Richards.
Yes.
This is his age, this is his occupation.
Right. I would like us to revisit a point that we discussed on a previous program. And that was, in the environment in which we are right now, and I am talking specifically about the high crime rate in Jamaica.
Yes.
Now, isn't this an appropriate time for people to purchase insurance as one of the means of security?
Yes, definitely. Security, especially in terms of your income and the income that you earn. Whose welfare is it spent on? Family issues, the regular things of life. And we also said before that the investment in your children to guarantee that they can move up the economic ladder is important. So if your income is lost, whether due to death, disability, and you lose the income but you are still alive. So you will be suffering as well with the rest of the family when the income is taken away, when the income is lost. That's one major thing that life insurance does. Protect your income so that despite the situation, if you are dead, disabled, critically ill, heading towards retirement, that's what we do as advisors. That's what we do as assistant buyers. That's what we do in putting information together to help somebody make a decision and to see the necessity. That's what we have to do. That's what our job demands.
Yeah. Okay. But the other thing, Lloyd, is this, that based on our environment, is that you have a significant percentage of the Jamaican population who are impoverished, who are poor, who find it difficult, and as we speak now, I know that it is more difficult right now. The burden is heavier than a number of persons. The question is, how can the insurance companies do? What can they do in order to make insurance policies affordable for these people who are at the bottom of the economic ladder? Is there insurance policies for these people?
Without without even blinking an eye. I want to make sure we get it clear that insurance is about risk. Insurance is about carrying a risk. People who don't accept our advice, people who don't have a love for anybody who is dependent on them, these people will not buy insurance whether or not they can. So the company itself takes on a risk when an insurance policy contract is put in force. For example, let me just do this quickly. If you work in the electrical industry, you have from the battery current, even for your watch or your radio or so on, you have that level of voltage right up to the high tension, as we ordinary people call it, from the lowest to the highest voltage. Now, if you just wire house, as we say, you just do household 110, you're not at any extra risk than the man who is walking up and down. So you buy the insurance policy. It is the risk of what you do on a daily basis that determines your premium, plus your age and your health and so on. But the person who work on the high tension wire, the high voltage wire, that person is at a greater risk than the technician who just pulling up a radio or a television or working on a car, electrical system. So you writing up, applying for your insurance, it will ask you a question about the voltage that you work with. And the higher the voltage, the higher your premium, because the higher the risk. Don't forget that the government have what we call National Insurance Scheme, NIS. It is for everybody who is employed. And like a taxi man, the man who is doing labor work, unskilled work, right up the ladder to the consultant and the ministers, and they all should subscribe to the National Insurance Scheme. Because when you get to retirement, the NIS have benefits. If you get injured and dismembered, the NIS have benefit. If a member of the family die, the NIS have a funeral grant. You are allowed to go, get registered, and make your NIS contributions regardless of what your wages is. But there are some people who would definitely have to be taken care of by the state. Some people will never be able to buy. So it's two sets of people you have who will never buy. Those who cannot afford it, the government have the safety net. Those who can afford it and believe in the myths that you asked me to talk about some time ago. Those who have people dependent on them, but they are not responsible. They have no love for these people. I know people who express the opinion, listen, if I could know when I am going to die, I would spend out all of my money and sell out all that I have and thing. They don't want to leave anything for anybody. They have no love, they have no care, they have no passion. And this is what we as agents have to face. So we have to be well schooled in a number of skills, Desmond. We have to be well schooled. And for us to be successful agents, somewhere I read, to be successful, you need skill set. You need a skill set, and you need a support system to be able to become successful.
Yeah. So, but you wait, let me back up a little. I'm saying that there are people in Jamaica
Yes.
who simply can't afford insurance.
Some can't afford food, some can't afford house, some can't afford transportation.
Yes. So those people, they are left out.
No, they're not left out.
They are not?
No, the insurance company is not responsible for people who cannot afford the product. Neither is the Toyota Motor Company, neither is the Rolls-Royce, neither is the all the other top-end products.
No, I am not saying.
There is a product. Insurance is a product.
Yeah, I know. I'm not saying that the insurance company is responsible. You know. What I am trying to find out is if the insurance company, what can be done by insurance company to make it possible to secure or to get those people at the bottom, more of them in a position to buy insurance. If that sort of kind of thinking is, part of insurance industry.
Well, I am way that's above my pay grade, Desmond.
Yeah.
That issue is above my pay grade.
Yeah.
But whenever you get the presidents on your program, please put that question to them, because we have to sell what they give us.
Yes. All right, understood. Yeah. Well, that is I can't really understand that. That is the situation that you face with. You can't make any.
Excuse me.
You can't make any adjustment to that. I can't really understand that. But the situation exists. Well, for the remaining period of the program, we have about 5 minutes remaining. Probably we could spend that looking at well, probably we can, yeah.
Oh. Talk about the church. Yes, ma'am, please.
Put it on back now. Very quick. If we operate church.
These people asking.
Then it will bring out the love, bring out the love, bring out all the love in us. Bring out the love. Said I want to bring out the love. Bring out the love. touch the rebel in you. And the rebel in you can touch a rebel in me. And the rebels we be is gonna set us free. Then it will bring out the rebel, bring out.
Oh, welcome back to Rebel Radio, you know. And, well, we would also, Brim, there's a question from one of our listeners, and they are talking about the church. So, for example, somebody who operated a church, then somebody, a pastor, what kind of insurance policies, you know, is available for religious organization like that? How do they access it?
Well, let's look at it this way. You're asking about a person who their main occupation is in the ministry, as we say in Jamaica. The people who are in the ministry, can a car bounce them off the sidewalk and injure them, cripple them, kill them, anything like that?
Of course.
When the pastor, if we just use that term now, when the pastor gets married, is he responsible for feeding his family? When the pastor takes on church activities, does he have to wear proper clothing? He has to do everything that another husband has to do. I know that some church pay them a salary. Some churches, they have retirement homes for these people. The church sometimes carry a part of their responsibility, family-wise. Good? So, the pastor is a candidate for life insurance because life insurance is about risk. Yeah. What risks the pastor is exposed to? What personal responsibility? He can apply for insurance just like any other member of the society.
I tell you what. You see, next, I'm going to make a note of that. Because you see, next week we want to explore it because we are out of time for this program.
Just quickly,
yes.
Just a few quick seconds. Let me just get that clear. The church has funeral programs where they bury people who have no other means. That's one thing. Now, there are group policies that the church can buy for the members, and the church gets it money either from the head office, either from people abroad who help to spread the word. It's very important. I like that question, and I am so sorry you just brought it at the end of the program.
What I want you to do is make a note of it, because we go deeper into it next week.
Some are professionals as well.
Yes.
Building contract.
Because, for example, you know, something that question also still another thought. I mean, for example, how like NGOs, you know, I mean, you have some charitable organizations.
Excellent.
In the community. I mean, how could they be facilitated with insurance? But next week we'll continue it. Well,
I can't wait until next week.
Yes. Well, that is the end of Be Sure for this week. And we'll continue our discussions. You know, it is on a Monday. We'll continue to explore and provide you with answers to these critical issues. Want to thank our special guest, Mr. Lloyd Brim. And we'll be back next week with Be Sure. let us go for a break.
Tools Hardware and Supplies is having a massive civil servant sale
in celebration of all civil servants.
Store-wide discounts and specials on new arrivals and best-selling items for all your home renovations.
Best quality items at the lowest prices island-wide.
You will love the savings.
Just show your ID and you're good to go.
So come visit us at 279 Spanish Town Road, 4 South Camp Road, 8 Red Hills Road,
or online at toolsja.com.
Tools!
The Lion King of Hearts. Father God, Lord, your love has made me stronger, and for that, I'm all yours. Lord of mercy. Oh God, I'll never find the words, Lord, to tell you how I feel. Dear God, mere words could not explain. Yeah, gracious Lord, you held my life within your hands, created everything I had, taught me how to live again. Only you care when I needed a friend, making my promise. Oh, this song is for you, filled with gratitude and love. Oh Lord, I thank you. You make me feel brand new. For blessing me, I adore you. Almighty God, I love you. I sing this song for you. Father God, I adore you. Yeah. My Lord, whenever I was insecure, you build me up and made me sure. You gave my sense of pride back to me. Only you care when I needed a friend, making my promise. Oh, this song is for you, filled with gratitude and love. I thank you. You make me feel brand new. For blessing me, I adore you. Almighty God, I love you. I sing this song for you. You make me feel brand new. For blessing me, I love you. Yeah, I really love you. I sing this song for you. Oh yeah.
Ever wanted to share what you know about a crime but were too afraid? At Crime Stop, we make it easy for you to report on crimes safely and 100% anonymously. All it takes is 4 simple steps. First, contact the tip line at 311 or visit www.crimestop.org or www.311tips.com. Then share what you know anonymously with one of our trained counselors. Any information related to criminal activity is accepted. We don't want to know your identity. We don't record calls or use star 69. And there is no way of tracing tips over the phone or online. You'll also be given a file number for your tip. Next, track the progress of your tip by calling our tip line at 311 and quoting your file number. Finally, if your tip leads to success, you will be eligible for a cash reward. Rewards will be paid out upon request through a trusted disbursement agency with verification process to ensure that your identity remains hidden. Share what you know anonymously. Contact Crime Stop.
Father God,
Most High.
to you.
Yes, welcome back to Rebel Radio. And this is the time for workers' time. We have with us 2 security officers with us online. And we have Mr. Dawkins and Caution. Caution, are you there?
I'm here.
And Mr. Dawkins, good afternoon, Mr. Dawkins.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes. I don't know which one of you have some noise in the background, you know. I don't know if you have radio in the background, could you turn it off, please?
I have nothing in the background.
Yes. Caution, if you have anything in the background, turn it off. Yeah. Well, as you know, we have been talking about the issues faced by the security officers. And I saw last week where the officers decide to take the legal course. So you gentlemen have acquired the service of an attorney, and you have now decided to take your matter with the company to the court. Caution, you want to tell me what has happened? What is the latest on that?
Repeat your question.
No, I said that you people have acquired the service of an attorney to address the matter with the company. So could you tell me what is the latest on that?
All right, the latest is that the attorney is going ahead with the affidavit.
Yes.
And quite a few security have made their statements and give the lawyer some relevant document.
Yes.
And so he's preparing it to go to court as we speak.
Okay. And in the meantime, what is the latest? Have you received any response at all from the company? Has the company made any new offers to the security officers?
Not to my knowledge.
Mr. Dawkins, you know of any new offers from the company?
No, nothing at all. We don't get no response on them. Nothing like they're going to change anything. Nothing at all.
Okay. So the matter is now going to court?
Yes, it's definitely going to the court.
Yes. And Now, do you have any idea of how many, the last time I heard the minister saying that what it was, over 80% of security guards have signed off on the new contract. Is that the case?
Well, that is what the minister said. We don't have confirmation as to how much persons have signed.
Okay. But you know any officer, you personally know any officer who has signed the new contract?
Yeah, man, a lot of persons have signed. And, you know, they are in limbo right now.
What do you mean by that?
Because them don't know the fate after the 3 months probation.
Okay, yeah. But I think one of your colleagues who told me that they don't have, that they were not given copies of the new contract.
No, that is one of the problems, because in 2001, when they were emerging dual with marksman, every security get a copy of the contract, showing that your years of service will be unbroken. In this contract here, it don't show nothing at all concerning about your years of service.
Yes.
Nothing. Not even about your insurance. It don't show nothing about your insurance either.
Okay. Nothing is in the new contract about insurance?
Nothing in the new contract show about your insurance.
So those officers who are working now, and I am talking about all of them, including the beryllium officers, those who are carrying around large sums of money, that you mean they don't know anything about their insurance either?
I guess maybe it have to be like their personal insurance.
No, I'm not talking about personal insurance.
But with the company, it don't show nothing about your insurance with the company.
May I fall in here?
Yes.
We don't know if later on down the road, you know, probably within the next couple of months or weeks, they might come and ask everybody to who's working and who signed the contract to come and sign the relevant insurance section. I don't know. It's just speculating.
Yes, but
the previous contract, there were insurance policy attached to the policy. Exactly. This one is just 13 pages of rubbish. 13 pages of rubbish.
Yes, but that is very serious because, for example, the officers who are involved in the transporting huge sums of money, they are being targeted right now.
Exactly.
Right? And therefore, it is very strange that they would be working without insurance coverage. That is unbelievable.
Well, to me, I don't know if the same contract that they give us to sign is the same contract that they give Berlio. I don't know.
Okay. Yes. But the one that you saw, because you would have seen a copy of the existing contract, right, Mr. Dawkins?
Yes, sir.
So kindly, from your memory, I know you don't have a copy, but what are some of? Tell us what were included. Some of the key things that were included in this new contract.
In this new contract here.
Yes.
There's a whole lot of flaws in it. Because one of the first things, as long as you're signing a contract, most definitely you're supposed to have a copy and the person have a copy of it. That is what I know. They give us this contract with 13 pages. We must just sign and just give it back to them. And there's another thing. Signing this contract here, you don't know what they might use your signature to do otherwise without your permission and the electronic signature. They can use it to do anything, and it's your signature. You sign it, so they can do anything. You might even sign a death warrant for yourself, and you don't know. So it doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense, you know.
Yes. But I am asking you, do you remember some of what were in that contract?
There is nothing in there showing your rights. Because if you're working for 25, 30, 40 years, and it shows that when you sign this contract, all of your years of service, everything is gone. Everything is gone. Nothing at all to show any form of benefit that you are going to get in the future. Nothing at all it don't show.
Yes. No, that is just totally unacceptable. Totally.
Exactly.
Very much so.
Yes. And
they're forcing people to sign. They're forcing people to sign. You don't sign, you don't have a job.
Yes. And to the best, gentlemen, to the best of your knowledge about how many officers are now off the job?
I have no idea, but I know it's a good amount.
Mm.
Yeah. I know that it's a good amount.
Yes, yes. Mm. Now the other thing is that the plans are afoot. Our action, I know that the minister has indicated to one of the trade union leaders, Mrs. Helen Davis White, that she should go ahead and make preparation to set up a joint industrial council. Now, what I would like to know, I know that the security guards over the years, the security guards have been afraid to join trade unions. Now, do you know if that attitude has changed, or my understanding is that the officers are still afraid to join trade unions? Is that so?
Very much so.
But tell me something. What I would like to know is why are you afraid?
Well, I know I'm not afraid, no.
No, I know. Why are officers afraid?
Because they're afraid to lose their income. They don't want to take the risk and hold the bull by the horn. You understand? But I am thankful that a couple of my colleagues, stand out and stand firm. They're not signing this contract. And they are moving forward with Mr. Morrison. I'm grateful for that.
Yes, I see. Because I think that the officers have to understand that if they are going to defend their rights, then there are some actions that they have to take, and one of which is they must be part of the trade union movement that will stand up for them.
Right.
Because if look at what is happening now, where, as you pointed out, that a new contract was introduced and nothing is in that contract to take care of the years of service. So you find that officers who work 10, 15, 20 years, that is not recognized at all, right?
All right, Mr. Sorry to interrupt, but by law, once the name of a company is gonna change, it's supposed to make every employee redundant.
Yes.
And that is not so in this case.
No.
They just carry the contract. They just carry the contract and tell you to sign it.
Mm.
You understand?
Yeah.
And I believe that is very much rude,
Disrespectful.
and disrespectful for persons like, like persons who working for over 10 years, going 30, 40 years,
No, so tell me something now. Under the old working arrangements, money was drawn out of your salary for NIS and NHT.
Yeah. Every fortnight.
Every fortnight.
Okay. All right. So therefore you people would not have any difficulty accessing NHT benefits because you pay your NHT, you make your NHT contribution. Do you know if any worker would had difficulty accessing NHT contributions?
Oh yeah. 2012 money for NHT refund. Up to now, no security got it.
2012.
No security got their refund for 2012. And from 2012 onwards, it's half of the contribution we've been getting every year.
Oh.
So
and
the company,
why is this so? Why?
The company has not, the company did not stand to their part of the agreement to pay part.
Mm. Okay. Yeah.
There's only the security officers, only their contribution alone was sent over.
Mm.
The company portion was not.
Okay, right.
And there is something that I have to say too. Even the NIS that they joined from us, a lot of the money that they draw from us, 5, 7, 8, 9 years, they draw the money from us, and they still don't pay over to NIS.
Wow.
No money has paid over to NIS.
Mm-hmm.
And every fortnight they draw the money from us.
Yes. No, that is also unacceptable. Then when
These
you people
are wicked.
When you people talk to the company about that, what response you got?
They will fix it.
What is what?
They will fix it. They will sort it out.
That is what they told the workers.
Yeah.
Okay. But so you know, do you know if that promise has been kept? In other words, have they fixed the problem? Have they paid over the money? Do you know that?
No, I don't think any has paid. But we just have to stay in the wings and watch and see what is going on.
I see.
Marksman and guardsman, they are very, very wicked.
Yes.
Yes, they are very wicked. Because while they're drawing our money and at the same time they're not paying it over. They're not paying it over, and every fortnight they draw the money. They are wicked.
Yes. So I can well imagine that part of the instructions to your attorneys is to ensure that they pay over that money to the relevant authorities.
Exactly.
Yes. Now the other thing, like when you people pay for your uniforms, that uniform is your property.
Yes, it's ours because we pay for it.
Okay. Yes.
We pay for it.
Yes. I see. Right. And the no, I find it strange that the company, the workers have to buy their uniforms.
Buy our uniform.
Yes.
And every single thing, everything, if it's a tie, we have to pay for it. Every single thing, we have to pay for it. We don't get nothing at all free. Nothing.
Yes, sir.
Everything we have to pay for it.
Yeah. And
I am in the company for going 24 years, and I have to pay for uniform for my just come in the company until they stop me from work.
Okay. And tell me something. When you were on duty, so you get paid for overtime though?
No, straight 12 hours.
You work 12. Hold on. Each shift is a 12 hour?
Yeah, each shift is 12 hours.
12 hours?
12 hours.
12
straight hours.
So hold on. So tell me something. But you people only work 40 hours per week though?
That is what they are trying to implement now.
No,
That
before.
is what the government
No,
trying to implement.
I'm talking before.
No,
So you people used to work over 40 hours per week?
if your body is strong enough, can do 96.
90 what?
They won't stop you. 96 hours. If your body is strong enough, can do the 96 hours or more. They won't stop you. But now they are implementing the 40-hour week.
No, so hold on. Hold on. Explain something for me. When you work overtime under the previous arrangement, when you work overtime, you are not paid for that.
They don't call it overtime.
What they call
It's
it?
not called overtime. It's just regular 12-hour shift.
Suppose you work all right. What I'm trying to find out. First of all, the 12-hour shift, that means for sorry, what that means is that under those conditions, it is likely that security guards were working overtime because.
Overwork.
Am I right?
Yes, you are right, because definitely it should be 40 hours for the week.
Yes. That is what obtained. That is a legal position.
Right.
That's yes. You work 40 hours. You work 40 hours. If you work more than 40 hours, you can work more than 40 hours, but you have to be paid for it.
And it should be overtime.
Yeah, it's overtime.
Exactly.
It wasn't like so.
It wasn't like that.
Boy, really? And no vacation, no paid vacation leave?
No paid vacation leave.
What about sick leave?
No.
Nothing at all.
The sector workers are treated very unfairly in this country. Security officers, they are treated very unfairly.
So no sick leave,
No sick leave, no benefit.
no vacation leave, no
Nothing at all.
no pension.
Nothing at all.
Well. No.
That is why I want the union to come on stream and back the workers and the workers back the union, so we can get additional benefits such as the pension. The pension can come into play. Health insurance can come into play.
Mm-hmm.
And the other benefits that we are entitled to.
Yes. Right. And I'm sure all the security officers, they are aware of what you are talking about. So
they're aware. They're aware, but that's the level of reluctance in some of them. It's pain my heart to hear or to see persons who working in the company 40 years, you know, just a boy, and they have no right. They don't have a choice. They have to sign. And they sign the contract. So, 140 years going down the drain.
It is a sad.
That went down the drain. It gone down the drain.
Yes, because once you sign,
persons call me. What the lawyer is saying, and I'm like to myself, come man, you are working. So what you expect the lawyer to do? You know, if it is sign the contract now, the lawyer will have more foothold with more persons, you know. But you know, they keep on calling what the lawyer can do because them sign the contract. I don't have nothing to tell them.
Well,
I don't want to burst them bubble. I'm telling some boy you want to see them. Now come out of but you know.
No, but hold on. The contract that they are signing is for 3 months, right?
No, the probation period is for 3 months.
Oh, the probation period for 3 months.
Right.
The contract is for a year.
Yeah, for 1 year.
Yeah, the contract is for a year.
Oh, and the probation period is 3 months. Well, apparently, I probably the officers are waiting to see what happened with the court action. The court action, the results of the court action might influence decisions by more of them to withdraw from the contract.
Well, you can't withdraw under the year.
Well, I don't.
Section 28, 1 and 2, it's stipulate all of that. You know, we don't blame our fault.
That what? Stipulate what?
If you sign the contract, you can't blame nobody.
Yeah, I know, but
right?
What you are saying, you can't withdraw from it?
No, you can't withdraw. Cannot be withdrawn.
Yeah.
It cannot be withdrawn.
You have to serve the year before you can withdraw.
You have to serve the year.
Boy, that contract is funny.
But I don't know why so many securities sign it, and at the same time, you're working with a company for so many years, and they're changing from one company to another, and they're still going to put you on 3 months probation. And you're working 15, 20, 30, 40 years, and you have to go on a 3 months probation.
Yes. Mm.
That's criminality.
Yes.
Yes, that's criminality.
Right. And you say that nobody from the company has spoken to...
No one.
Nobody. The contract said mutual agreement, but there was no mutual agreement. And just come on and give you the contract to sign.
And force it on you.
The highway or the highway.
Yes. Well, I just say that the lawyer is now putting together a case.
Yeah, he's putting a case for the court.
Yes.
In our defense.
Right, and that is going to be a decisive. Whatever the results of that case, it is going to be decisive because it will definitely, give clear indication as to what is the future, how the matter is going to be dealt with down the road.
Yes.
And your colleagues, don't you have colleagues? You have colleagues in the rural areas too? Or they are just in the corporate area?
No, right across, even in the Caribbean.
Yes.
Even in the Caribbean.
Have you been in touch with your Caribbean colleagues?
No.
Okay. Yeah. But the rural workers, what are they saying? So, I would imagine that many of them have signed up too.
Quite a number of them have signed. I don't know the average of persons who don't sign.
Mm-hmm.
But quite a few persons have signed.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Boy. So, Mr. Dawkins.
Yes, Mr. Richard.
And both of you. So, have you spoken to any of the officers who are, transporting the money? Have you had?
I don't have no contact with any of them.
I have a few persons. Some of them don't sign the contract, and but they are still working. I don't know if because they're being classified as essential workers, where the bank and Western Union across the country have to get their money, and also the supermarket.
No, but what you said, they have not signed the contract. But they are still working?
Right.
Yes? So have you spoken to any worker like that who has done that? In Caution? Mr.
Yeah, repeat, sir.
No, I'm asking if you have spoken to any of those workers. Those who are working but have not signed the contract. Have you had any discussion with any of them?
Yeah, man. I talk to some of them now and then.
And what are they saying?
What they're saying is that they're not signing the contract. They're not signing the contract. And what 20 are gonna do? They're not signing the contract, but they're still working.
Yeah, but yes, I heard. Hold on, somebody's in the background, Mr.
Yeah, hold on. Come on, hold on. Yes, sir.
Yes. No, I heard that. I heard you saying that they have not signed the contract.
Other than that, I know that from time to time they will keep meetings with them, like on a Tuesday or Monday. But I'm not there to know what is being said. But they keep meeting with them like either Monday or Tuesday, I believe.
So tell me, no, what I'm trying to find out is when you spoke to those workers, those who have not signed contracts but are still on duty, what have they said to you? I mean, what they
just have to continue working until I'm not signing the contract, but I'm still obligated to work.
But I don't understand that.
Double standard.
Huh?
Double standard.
So the company still employ them without they signing the contract?
Right, but as I'm saying, they are being essential workers.
Yeah, I can imagine that because they have to transport money.
Yeah.
But what is interesting there is that they have not signed the new contract.
What the CEO, Mr. Benjamin, said a meeting at investing.
Repeat what you repeat. I'm not hearing you clearly. Repeat what you said.
Benjamin said in our meeting that he's gonna investigate and see who don't sign the contract because it's not fair for persons who don't sign the contract still working. But it is
what?
it is a victimization and a double standard.
Yes.
But even on some location, you still have security working who still don't sign the contract, and they are still working on location.
And these are not the beryllium officers?
No.
So have you spoken to any of those workers, Mr. Dawkins?
No, I haven't spoken to any of them. I haven't spoken to any of them.
In some instance, Mr. Richard, the client is the one who requests that they can't move them.
They
should move them.
No, repeat that for me. Repeat that for me. I didn't hear you clearly. Repeat what you said a while ago.
Some of the clients said that the company cannot remove any of the security.
Oh, I see.
So it's the client that calls us back.
Yes. Oh, I get you there. The client want those security. The client want those security guards to work for them.
Right.
Yes. I see. Yeah. Boy, it is very, very difficult. Very, very difficult situation. And
it's definitely a victimization with security.
Yes.
Definitely.
No, it is totally out, man. Yes. So, gentlemen, we await to see what happened then. The matter. So when is the court? When you have a court date? The lawyer has informed about any court date, has it? What did you say?
Not as yet.
Oh, not as yet. All right. Well, let us wait. And see what happened then.
There will be a town hall meeting Wednesday.
Uh-huh.
Labor. There will be a town hall meeting.
Yes.
Wednesday coming. Starting at 4.
Okay.
4 to 6:30.
Yes. And
the Minister of Labor is the one who put on this town hall meeting.
Okay.
I guess this meeting is to inform us as to where the JIC is going, Joint Industrial Council. Or just to hear our views.
Yes.
So, what I'm asking now, I'm giving a free hand. The fellow security out there, fellow security officers out there, I need you guys to turn up with your numbers. The Chinese
That is where the meeting is going to be held?
Yes, Wednesday. 4 to 6:30.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, I want to thank you very much then. And we'll try and keep abreast of what is happening.
I don't know if you can make it to the meeting.
I'm not certain because that is when I'll be on air. So what I will have to do, I will keep in touch with you guys, and you can tell me what is happening. Okay? Hello? Yes, well, that was, yes. So I will keep in touch. I will keep in touch with you guys and you can tell me what is happening.
Okay then, sir. Okay.
All right. All right, Caution. All right, Mr. Dawkins.
Yes, Mr. Richards. Okay.
All right. That was worker, the security officers start telling me about what is, we were there discussing what is happening with the security officers. And but it's really a tough situation for them. Very, very tough. Very challenging. Very, very challenging and demanding. And we don't know, I don't know how they are going to, get out of this one, but it is a very, very challenging situation, I can tell you that. Very, very challenging. Because, and then I don't want to understand how security guards who have not signed the contract are on duty. I don't understand that. But that is the situation. That is the situation. It is very, very difficult to understand. But, it is part of the general working situation in Jamaica. Because here is a case where these workers have been working for years, right? They're afraid of joining trade unions. They are working on under some of the most challenging situation. They have to pay for their uniforms. They don't have health insurance. They don't get paid for overtime work. They don't have vacation leave. They don't have sick leave. And still they are afraid to join our trade unions. And these are people who have been working with the organization for 30, 20, 40 years, right? Now, they are being asked to sign new contracts. And these new contractual arrangements don't recognize their years of service, right? And they are being asked to start from scratch as new employees. So nothing has been said. Then we are, based on the discussion not too long ago, we are told that money is deducted from their salaries for NIS, NHT, have not been paid over. So these are some of the most challenging working conditions in the country. But it is part of the problem. This is part of the system that we have in Jamaica, right? And I don't know when the authorities are going to address these issues, right? But the crime problems that we are having, the social problems that we're having in the country, they are associated with, they are as a result of the social conditions that we have. So many people are faced with these problems, right? Significant percentage of the Jamaican people are impoverished. They are not working. if those who are working, they are getting minimum wage. They are working under conditions that are deplorable. The conditions under which thousands, hundreds of thousands of Jamaicans are living are conditions which help to breed antisocial activities. Right? Yes, there are countries, poor countries, where, for example, their murder rate is not as high as Jamaica. But there are studies out there to prove what I'm saying, that the antisocial activities that we are experiencing in the country, it has a lot to do with the social and economic conditions under which hundreds, thousands of Jamaicans are living and have been living under these conditions for years, right? And we will have to address, we must do something to address these problems if we are going to address the antisocial activities that we are having in the country. We must do that. Unless we do that, we are not going to. We are going to have these difficulties. They are going to continue. Let us take a break and we'll be back shortly. This is Rebel Radio.
Our love is in need of sweet devotion. Come on, because you got the potion to bring out the love in me, and I will bring out the love in you. Let the lover in you touch the lover in me, and the rebel in me will touch the rebel in you, and the lovers we be will bring sweet harmony. Then it will bring out the love, bring out the love, bring out all the love in us. My love is deeper than the ocean. Our love is in need of sweet devotion. Come on, because you got the notion to bring out the love in me, and I will bring out the love in you. Let the rebel in me touch the rebel in you, and the rebel in you will touch the rebel in me, and the lovers we be will bring sweet harmony. Then it will bring out the love, bring out the love, bring out all the love in us. Bring out the love. Said I want to bring out the love. Bring out the love. Said I want to bring out the love. Bring out the love. Bring out the love. Bring out all the love. Bring out the rebel. Said I want to bring out the rebel. Bring out the rebel.
Tools Hardware and Supplies is having a massive civil servant sale in celebration of all civil servants.
Store-wide discounts and specials on new arrivals and best-selling items for all your home renovation. decorations.
Best quality items at the lowest prices island-wide.
You will love the savings.
Just show your ID and you're good to go.
So come visit us at 279 Spanish Town Road, 4 South Camp Road, 8 Red Hills Road,
or online at toolsja.com.
Tools!
The Lion King of Hearts.
Yes, welcome back to Rebel Radio. And at this time we have with us now the chairman of the United Independence Congress, Mr. Winston Wright. You know, over the weekend, the UIC, that third political party, they had a big event in London where they discuss constitutional and other political affairs. Mr. Wright, how are you?
Good evening, Brother D. I'm fine, thank you. And you?
Yes, well, I am supposed to be okay too.
Good to hear, good to hear.
Yes. So, tell us about that meeting in London. How was it?
Well, you know, that meeting in London was superb.
Yes.
We were packed online. The entire online platform was full. In attendance, we had a very intimate number of members there. I think from my count, we had about 30 persons physically present.
Yes.
We had persons from Jamaica online as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a very, very robust discussion as to the way forward.
Right. Right. Okay. So that was a successful encounter. All right. What were some of the concerns raised by the audience?
No, the questions were few, but the agreement with the position of the UIC was resounding.
Yeah.
But we had concerns, for example, as to what direction the government is really taking the country in, and why the lack of consultation on this most important change.
Yes.
You know, it has been akin to secret. It has been compared to a big secret by the public, and especially members of the UK diaspora, because they want, especially being in the UK diaspora and our former relationship with the UK, they want to be clearer as to the direction in which the government plans to take the country.
Yes.
And not having the information and the broad-based consultation is disturbing to most persons.
Yes, sir. Yes. I can well imagine that. Are there any other public meetings? Do you have any other public meetings on your agenda?
Yes, during this process and until the government adopts the UIC approach, meaning take a definitive position and move away from the ceremonial presidency that they have announced, where there will be a real republic with an elected president, an elected Senate, independent of the House of Representatives, independently elected members of parliament who aren't ministers of government. Then the UIC will continue to inform and educate Jamaicans at home and abroad as to this fake republic that is being created, being foisted on us by the present administration. So
yes.
We intend to continue. There's another meeting planned. This one is for Toronto. And then we will come back to Jamaica and continue throughout the island. We already started in St. Elizabeth. The launch was in St. Elizabeth. So we'll continue our public education campaign, We the People campaign, for our real republic.
Right. And I see your list of, in other words, your recommendations, what the UIC would like to see us going forward. We want an elected president, not a ceremonial president. We want members of our Senate to be elected. We want, well, the MPs are elected already. But
so we will continue that.
Yes. And UIC, the other position I understand from the UIC is that the elected president, his cabinet, he is entitled to form his cabinet members, but not from the elected MPs. The elected MPs
That is correct.
Are elected to serve their constituency.
And will be restricted in that role where they will serve the people with a proper job description, defining how they will manage the operations of the constituency to work to develop the lives of the people who elected them.
Yes, so unlike the existing situation where members of the cabinet are drawn from members of parliament who are elected on a party ticket, so the UIC is under UIC government is that our members of parliament would be members of parliament. They won't be members who of a party who from whom the members of the cabinet are selected.
No, you see, what we intend to do, exactly, what we intend to do is restrict those elected members of parliament to their true role which they were elected for,
right,
but draw from the plethora of educated, well-experienced professionals throughout the world that are Jamaicans to run the various quote-unquote ministries. So our Minister of National Security, for example, will be a Jamaican, whether at home or abroad, who is experienced in international security architecture and to be able to craft a national security plan to take us forward.
Yes.
Not an appointee on a political basis. You know, one prime minister told me that he doesn't allow anyone to appoint his commissioner of police because his commissioner of police should not arrest him. And it's a Westminster system this prime minister works under.
Yes.
So you can imagine what happens in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we saw what happened over the weekend with the new Senate appointees. These are known, especially one particular figure who I won't name, is a well-known partisan figure, polarized to one particular colonial party. And he was appointed as a senator, while pledging to work for the people.
Yes.
Now, this partisan appointment cannot be allowed to continue. We have to be able to mature our democratic processes and allow persons of the best ilk to represent. Now, as a senator, he's going to be responsible for the ascension of laws. What will his leanings be when, one, he was overtly polarized in his professional life and then appointed in a partisan way to the Senate? He will be a mouthpiece of that party, not a mouthpiece of the people.
Yes.
He won't work to protect the people. He will work to protect his partisan interest.
Yes.
The UIC wants to see an end to that, which is why we want senators elected within the 14 parishes. So not 20, how many senators, but 14 senators elected within the parish to represent the people.
So tell me something now, Mr. Wright. So these senators, they all right. We have two political parties in Jamaica right now. So
right.
The question is, under your form of government, existing members of the PNP and the JLP, wouldn't they be permitted to contest elections?
Yes, man. The members are, and you're free to form a party because what the UIC is pro-choice.
Yeah.
So you're free to become a congregation, just like the UIC will be a congress of well-thinkers, a united congress. The JLP and the PNP will still exist.
Yeah.
However, the partisan leaning will be removed from our politics because our electoral system that we will craft for the people will allow persons, all political aspirants, a publicly funded campaign system where everyone gets equal exposure on all fronts.
Yes.
There will be no private and special interest campaign finance.
Okay. Yes.
Privately contribute to a campaign.
Right. So the private contributions or for under existing conditions now, the private sector contributes to political parties. Millions, right? The last election, the banks put up over 100 million. Are you there? I don't know. I lost Mr. Wright. I don't. Let me try and get him back to respond to this question here. Let me try and get him back. Yes. Yes, I'm trying to get back Mr. Wright with us, but I'm not getting in at all. Let me still try. And we are talking to Mr. Winston Wright, the Vice President of the United Independence Congress. And he's telling me about we are talking about what his party plans to do.
Call from Winston Wright, UIC.
Yes, I lost you a while ago.
Yes, Brother D, I'm back with you. I wonder who don't want you to hear what I have to say today.
Yeah, right. Yes.
As I was sharing with you and your listeners.
Yes.
Oh, you won't have private special interest campaign financing because I want to lobby you to a particular leaning.
Right.
What you will have is a 100% publicly funded campaign. Now, if as a good corporate citizen you want to contribute to the electoral process, then you contribute to it publicly.
Yes. So, and you are not limited in your contribution.
No, you're not limited because
so
you'll be public.
if I want to give a candidate or a party 100 million, I still can do that.
That's a party. To the electoral system.
Yes.
Whatever your contribution is, whether it's 100 million or 200 million or $1.
Yes.
It goes to the publicly funded campaign system and goes to every candidate,
right,
regardless of your affiliation.
Yes, right. So at this stage, let me understand the UIC now. You'll be contesting all 60 seats.
It is our intention. We don't have all 63 candidates as yet.
Mm-hmm.
We have a good number in place, strong candidates. Myself will be running in Eastern Westmoreland, the president in Southeast St. Elizabeth, and we have other strong candidates coming up. We'll soon release our slate. That's one of the things on our calendar of activities. We will release our slate of candidates.
Yes.
As we realize that the focus, well, let me not put the party business out there, but let's just say that we're planning for a general election.
Yes, yes. No, but you have to, when you say you're not put the party business, you have to tell the public about the party business because you want the public to know about the party business so that they can make choices.
True, and that's why I'm willing to say we're releasing our slate of candidates soon. But we also need to realize that the other parties are paying attention. They've been stealing our ideas rampantly.
But so, you know that no third party has won an election in Jamaica. You also know that third parties have contested elections in Jamaica, but so far none has been able to enter into the winner's enclosure. You are fully aware of that?
The UIC is fully aware of that, but that is a narrative created to dissuade voters. While we have never had what you're speaking of, let's understand that the people of Jamaica has never had what we're seeing now either. And realize wholeheartedly that good governance is sorely lacking and is one of the biggest destroying factors in our lives and our country.
Yes.
And Jamaicans yearn for that change, that 63% silent majority will speak for the UIC if the UIC is allowed to be heard.
No, but when you said allowed to be heard, I don't understand. Who is preventing the UIC from being heard now? I don't.
No,
you're coming up with, you're facing obstacles in that?
Of course. The UIC isn't allowed on the mainstream media. We have presented dozens of press releases, even on the current fiasco that you're calling a political, constitutional reform. Mm-hmm. We have published press releases on it, and it has not been carried by the mainstream media. Mm-hmm. We have pressed on other social issues and issues of importance to the people, and our message has never been carried. Whenever we are invited on a mainstream platform, it is an attempt to belittle our opposition and ridicule the UIC. Recently, they conducted a farce of a poll as to who the people will vote for when the public complained that the UIC was omitted from it. We were invited on radio program.
What? The UIC was what?
Invited on a public program to analyze the results, and when we put our positions forward,
yes,
persons were shocked that we were not being heard, and our position is so in sync with what the people of Jamaica yearns for these days. Mm-hmm. And that is why we created UIC Liberty TV, to make sure that our narrative, our voice, the voice of Jamaicans, is heard continuously.
Well, because one of the things that I was about to say, that in the environment in which you're operating, the UIC will have to take it on. In other words, you will have to ensure, you will have to make effort to ensure that your voice, your principles, your messages reach the people. You can't leave that. You can't leave that as a political, as an organization seeking to represent the people. You can't leave that up to anybody. You have to take on that responsibility.
Let me firstly say this.
Yes.
The UIC as a movement is very aware of how stacked the deck is against us from the beginning, from our registration as a party. Mm. And therefore, our message, we have always struggled and stood our grounds to make sure our message is heard. And that is why our following continues to grow. Yes. The UIC Liberty TV on YouTube is where our message resides. Yes. It is also on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Right.
So we make sure our message gets out there. We're heavy on social media because mainstream broadcast media in Jamaica, which we know is aligned to the PSOJ oligarch, we know who owns the RJ Aglina Communications Group. We know who owns CVM Television, and so on. Yes. We know who owns Nationwide News Network. Yes. We see recent grumblings about the level of spending, government spending, on media facets, and how much of an influence that could be. Because when you look at how competitive the media landscape is in Jamaica, if the government is the biggest customer, which broadcaster will turn away the government's money, or which broadcaster will have the guts not to be influenced by that money? Mm-hmm. We're not seeing that. We're only the independent media has had the courage to speak up, and the UIC has also made sure that it has broadcast its own independent media. Independent in the sense that we are not sponsored by any corporate citizen.
Right.
But we are sponsored by the people of Jamaica who wants our message out there, who want others to hear us speak of good governance, who wants to hear of our non-partisan constitutional republic, a real republic, right, where you are in control of the government, where your government is restricted to its true role and not as a big brother, an arbiter over your entire life.
Yes, of course. And I am also aware that the people want changes. They want changes because we have been accustomed, and I am just using 60 years. 60 years we have lived through 60 years. And I was just saying, for example, when you look at when you look at the country, hundreds of thousands of Jamaicans are living they are impoverished. And the conditions under which Jamaicans are surviving, struggling to survive, it has contributed to some of the antisocial activities that we are seeing in the country. Right?
Very much so. But, you know, we have satisfied with the piecemeal and careless approach of the various governments who are control opposition put in place to subvert our progress.
Yes.
Now, when you look at how they manage the country at the whim and fancy of a few. The country has never been managed for the benefit of the majority. It was always those who are in charge of the capital machinery of the country.
Yes.
Who transitioned from being the plantocracy to now being the PSLJ oligarchs.
Yes.
Those who control wealth, who control means in the country.
Yes.
As a people who were formerly enslaved, we have never had broad-based reform that allowed land ownership, for example, which is a big step in creating personal and generational wealth.
Yes.
We've never had that. We're told that the lands are crown lands, which means it's owned by a gentleman represented here ceremonially and lives thousands of miles away, who concocted atrocities of unknown numbers against our people in the past. And I'm saying it's time that we have a government that recognizes these facts, look at job creation, look at economic growth, housing as one complete package instead of a piecemeal basis, a political football that is used to deceive the masses.
Right.
It is time we have a government that understands that the world is changing, and instead of allowing our progress to be dictated by the colonial masters thousands of miles away who wish to use us again for their means, let's look internally and see what's best for our people, create a country that focuses on food security, water security, national security, but most importantly, our people's security.
Yeah. Mr. Wright, is the UIC a socialist or a capitalist party?
The UIC does not ascribe to any of these labels. They are dirty words used to trick and deceive the masses. The UIC is simply a movement, a collection of independent thinkers who believe in the progress of Jamaica, who understands that bad governance has destroyed us and left us in the hands of the colonial masters, left us at the whim and fancy of the PSLJ oligarchs who control the means of this country and disenfranchised us systematically.
But are you no? But I want to understand, because we have to deal with some realities. Are you going to be pursuing a free market philosophy?
Of course. The UIC believes in ultimate freedom, the sovereignty of the individual, and the right to choose, the right to your life, liberty, and property.
So the free market.
We pursue a truly, here's the difference, a truly free market, where true market force is the
give me an example of what you're talking about. Like
the way forward.
What is give me an example of your true free market. Give me a country. Name me a country.
Singapore, for example, is one of such countries.
Oh, Singapore.
Yes.
Yes, I see. And so we can say that your philosophy, the philosophy that your government is pursue, is the free market, where the capitalist forces dominate.
I didn't say capitalist forces, market forces. The law of supply and demand.
The private sector forces, they dominate the free market.
No. You see, and that is again another misnomer. A free market isn't controlled by private interest only, right? It's a
he's gone again, right? But I would like him to tell me of a free market where you don't. Yes, Mr. Wright.
You know, our conversation keeps interrupted, but
yes, you know of any free? Is there any free market in the world now that is not dominated by private sector forces?
There's no free market. I'm not aware of a free market. Again, a misnomer. People keep saying there are free markets, but these don't exist because of government and special interest interference. The UIC, based on the work of our venerable and revered president, has looked at the different conditions that exist in different countries, and we have identified the best practices that we will employ for the benefit of Jamaican people.
Yes.
And labels that are a deceiver are not what the UIC is interested in. We're interested in positive results from affirmative action vested in the growth of the people.
Yeah, I understand that, but I am saying to you that what exists globally, I'm talking what exists globally, you know. I am not plucking anything out of the sky. What exists what exists globally right now is a world dominated by private capital. That is what exists right now. And therefore, Jamaica cannot pull up that by itself. Jamaica alone can't pull up that. That is a system.
Brother D.
Yes, sir.
The UIC is not looking to be a protagonist or an antagonist in the world.
That's what, absolutely. You want to work.
We will be solely focused on, firstly, changing the lives of the Jamaican people.
Yes.
And work in an international atmosphere where we cooperate as best as we can with our global neighbors, but not to the disenfranchisement of the Jamaican people.
Understood.
It is time we put Jamaicans first. For example, we see foreigners coming here to execute contracts, but there's no legacy from that contract. There is no training provided. There is no advanced growth. Hotels, for example, that come to Jamaica and build multi-billion-dollar property, you are told that jobs should be given to locals, but all the jobs are menial jobs. All the high-paying jobs, all the top-level jobs, that I shouldn't say all, most, are controlled by foreigners.
Yes.
And this becomes a part of the flight of capital that we suffer from.
Mm.
In other countries, for example, in the United Arab Emirates, you have to partner with a local. You have to provide training so that way there's a transfer of knowledge and expertise to the local marketplace.
Yes.
That is happening in Jamaica because our leaders are weak, inept, and corrupt.
Yes.
So they tell the people that we're providing you with jobs, but these are all low-paying jobs, while they allow, for whatever special interest reasons, foreigners to come, occupy the high-paying positions, and then our nationals become economic refugees, run into places like America and England, where they become really successful because they have an open playing field.
Yeah.
While at home, they cannot enjoy the benefit of their expertise.
Okay, I tell you what, we will have to continue this discussion because we have to get into some issues, because there are some global issues which impact Jamaica. For example, before I go, one of the things I want, the Chinese, I am told by the Chinese companies that are doing the road work, they are paying the Jamaican workers 60% of what they are supposed to be paid. But this continued. I tell you what, we run out of time. But let us. I will call you and we'll set another time for us to continue this discussion.
I look forward to it, Brother D.
Yes, of course.
We will definitely need to forward this discussion so the persons in Jamaica and the diaspora can understand just what the UIC means when it says that we are for Jamaicans at home and abroad.
Clearly understood, Mr. Wright. That was the chairman of the UIC, the United Independence Congress, Mr. Winston Wright, telling us about the UIC and how it plans to govern the country, strengthen the governance capacity, and to make things different for us. This is Rebel Radio. Let us take a break.
And the rebel in you can touch a rebel in me, and the rebels we be is gonna set us free. Then it will bring out the rebel.
Tools, Hardware and Supplies is having a massive civil servant sale
in celebration of all civil servants.
Store-wide discounts and specials on new arrivals and best-selling items for all your home renovations.
Best quality items at the lowest prices island-wide.
You will love the savings.
Just show your ID and you're good to go.
So come visit us at 279 Spanish Town Road, 4 South Camp Road, 8 Red Hills Road,
or online at toolsja.com.
Tools!
The Lion King of Hearts.
Then it will bring out the rebel, bring out the rebel, bring out the rebel in me. If the lover in you can touch the lover in me, and the lover in me can touch a lover in you, and the lovers we be will bring sweet harmony. Then it will bring out the love, bring out the love, bring out all the love in me. My love is deeper than the ocean. Our love is in need of sweet devotion. Come on, because you got the potion to bring out the love in me, and I will bring out the love in you. Let the lover in you touch the lover in me, and the rebel in me will touch a rebel in you, and the lovers we be will bring sweet harmony. Then it will bring out the love, bring out the love, bring out all the love in us. My love is deeper than the ocean. Our love is in need of sweet devotion. Come on, because you got the notion to bring out the love in me, and I will bring out the love in you. Let the rebel in me touch the rebel in you, and the rebel in you will touch a rebel in me, and the lovers we be will bring sweet harmony. Then it will bring out the love, bring out the love, bring out all the love in us. Bring out the love. Said I want to bring out the love. Bring out the love. Said I want to bring out the because you got the potion to bring out the love in me, and I will bring out the love in you. Let the lover in you touch the lover in me, and the rebel in me will touch the rebel in you, and the lovers we be will bring sweet harmony. Then it will bring out the love, bring out the love, bring out all the love in us. My love is deeper than the ocean. Our love is in need of sweet devotion. Come on, because you got the notion to bring out the love in me, and I will bring out the love in you. Let the rebel in me touch the rebel in you, and the rebel in you will touch the rebel in me, and the lovers we be will bring sweet harmony. Then it will bring out the love, bring out the love, bring out all the love in us. Bring out the love.
Yes. Welcome back to Rebel Radio. You know, this is the station where we try to keep you informed. We want to talk some business now. What to talk about business? What is happening with our business partners? What is happening to the businessmen? Bobby, good afternoon to you. Yes. I am, are you hearing me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you, but I'm not hearing you so clearly, but I'm hearing you.
Yes. I don't know why you're not hearing me clearly at all. But how is business?
Well, I can't complain.
Yes.
It's going. We have not had any, we can say, in the last month or so.
Yes.
The place sort of is a little bit more calmer than it was before now. I pray and I hope that this is a turn for the better.
Right.
Because as I would continue to say, that one of the things that is affecting us is crime and violence.
Of course,
and,
of course.
It is a major cancer that is tearing us down as a country. You know, and not only businesses but families, you know, schools, right across the board. I was at a function the other day at Calabar, and it was an award ceremony, and we're talking about children, primary school. We're talking about children from 3 years old up to 11, I would think. And the shots rang out. The parents were there, and the shots rang out.
Yes.
Rang out. And, you know, it was a scare to the parents. Now the parents are witnessing this firsthand what their children is actually coming into. And at any given moment, there could be a crossfire, and these children could be hurt. It's a scare to the teachers also, because the environment becomes a daily basis, and at any given moment, you know. But as I said, the things have been a little bit calm, and I'm hoping and praying that remains the same.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, one of the things that I remember you and I were discussing the other day, we were talking about the prices that, you know, we have to be, prices for goods and services, right?
Yeah.
Now, have you experienced any reduction in prices over the last couple of weeks?
They have not been. The prices have remained the same. If anything, it would be that steady. But these guys are not going to reduce price because things are better for them. They are either going to let it remain, and of course, when it goes up or when they claim that they have reasons to raise, they go up again. But you will never see, most of the time, 99% of the time, the food either stay where it is or it goes up when it's in their favor.
Yes.
We can look at something now like turkey neck, and we can certainly say that come anywhere between September to October, we're going to hear the scarcity of turkey neck, and then it's going to go up. And that's how the system goes. You know.
Yeah.
And when you look at the food that is shown now, that is this processed, yeah. And when you look at the prices of these foods now, that you said the poor man used to buy, to survive, they can't buy it anymore.
Yes.
And turkey neck is one of such meals. And now turkey neck is more expensive than chicken.
What did you say a while ago? That turkey neck is more expensive than chicken?
Yes, man. Turkey neck is more expensive than chicken. Turkey neck is about 300 and something dollars a pound. Chicken is about 300, about 300 to 320, 330, depends on where you go. But turkey neck is about turkey neck is being sold for up to $350 a pound.
Yes. You know something that why I raised this question. You know, last year and the year before, during the COVID, you had the price, the shipping prices, shipping costs went up, right? And what has happened since COVID? Since COVID has died down, that shipping cost has gone down.
Yes.
And therefore, one would imagine that the cost of shipping down, that it would reflect in the price of goods and services. But this is not happening.
No. And they're going to find excuses as to tell you why they can't reduce the prices.
Yes. Now, the other thing that I want to raise, and I would like to ask your comment on it. I have never seen where prices went up and then those same prices reduced. Have you ever had that experience?
I'm saying, I can't recall. If it goes down, it's not by much.
Yes.
It goes down, when it goes up, it's like the gas. When the gas goes up, it goes up significantly. When it comes down, it comes from by cents.
Yes.
You see? And I've never seen it happen though. I said if it comes down, it's nothing significant.
Mm-hmm.
Because all right, let's talk about one group that I use, for example, pigtail. Now I have been operating since about 10 years now. And I think I've been cooking cookies about 8 years. I think it's too long. But let's talk about pigtail. But let's start with the pigtail. We were talking about less than $3,000 per keg, 25 pounds, less than $3,000. Yeah? Now, a keg of pigtail is up to $13,000. 25 pounds of pigtail, up to $13,000. I know this starts talking about the matter. The pigtail, the quality has gone down. So the prices is up, and the quality of the items have gone down.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Don't think about it. Less than 10 years. Look at the hype.
Yes.
From less than, let's say, $3,000 to $12,000. You have people who sell tickets for $13,500. It's 25 pounds.
Yes. Right. So we are faced with a situation where prices keep going up.
Yes.
No reduction.
No reduction.
No, not at all.
And let me just say this to you. I think there's a part of scripture that says that, or I don't know if it's a quotation or what, but it says the rich will remain rich, and the poor will remain poor.
Mm.
And it's simply because the rich continue to take from the poor. There was a time when you would say that poor man behave like he's rich and do some things like he's rich. Yes, they make those blunders sometimes too. But let me tell you this, their hands have been forced. Because chicken back, you know, run, a fish, run.
Yes.
Now, this is one of the fish that is at the bottom of the scale. Yeah? So, this is one of the fish that the poor man will buy. Because it's one of the better tasting and cheaper fish.
Yes.
Some don't like it, but they buy it and it can cook. Because of good meal for it.
Right.
Now, run price has gone, one, it has become scarce. Two, it has gone up.
Huh.
So all this stuff that you as an individual would use or would say, boy, this is what we can afford. The chicken back, the turkey neck, the chicken neck. Probably not the only thing that is cheap, but the chicken neck, the chicken foot, that you should stop at. Yeah? Those prices now, I can't get them at sky high.
Boy, it is terrible. And I see where the JPS has submitted its application for its annual increase. So,
and these are stuff that the government needs to look at.
Yes.
Right? For example, this annual increase by the Water Commission and JPS. Right? These are stuff that the government needs to look at because prepare.
Yes.
The bottom line is that you open a business and in any given month, JPS can collect no businessman, none at all. Especially when you operate certain kind of businesses, industrial businesses. None of them will get less than $20,000, $10,000 per month. JPS will get from them. It's 10,000 upward. Right? So a man with about 4 or 5 fridge and fan and air conditioning in his business today is going to be paying up to $50,000 a month for light bill. Now, these things, for you now to be increasing on these and this is every year, is unfair. Because there are so many factors that the businessman has to consider to operate.
Yes, yes. And at the same time, the wages of those who are working are not moving up to compensate, or even if they are moved, they are not moving at the rate to compensate for the cost of living, to buy the goods and services.
It is not, and sometimes as a boss, when you look at the salaries of people and you look at the cost of living, as you are human beings too, and you buy both and you buy stuff, right? And when you look at it and you say here you want to survive, that is why on the job you will always have to costly. Because when you work out the bus fare and the kids money to go to school and all of that stuff that factors in, yeah, it doesn't meet up. It doesn't meet up.
No.
And you're all deficit. You see? And we all right. You know? Here we are now on the path of becoming a republic, a free state, a free nation. Yeah? And the first thing I'm going to look at is the cost to the country. The cost of this to the country. Right? Now, why would we want to do what you're doing now before getting certain things right? Putting in infrastructure for the country to grow. Looking at the cost of living. Go around and find out from people the struggle that they're having so that we can come up with ways and means of putting in things that people can survive.
Yes.
We have this thing wrong. But you see again, you have people who do not think for themselves. And the government can come and they can tell them anything they want to tell them. And they run with it. Whether it is orange or it is green, they run with it.
Yes.
We don't think of the green, the black, and the gold. We think about orange or we think about green. Because at the end of the day, whether you're orange or you're green, it's a bad decision you are going to be affected at some point in time.
Yes, yes.
Yes. And I'm saying, why don't look at issues? We have this called crime. And you know, I heard somebody spoke the other day about the different things that was taking place to deal with COVID-19, right? And up until now, the person said they have not seen anything put in place to deal with crime that affects those that is worse than COVID-19. No, let us seriously sit down and measure this thing. Let us seriously look at it and ask ourselves, they made so much money off COVID-19 from fines and blah, blah, whatever it is. And they run up so many persons and throw them into trucks and whatever it is. They had time to find a man who said something bad about the Prime Minister. Yeah? But they found him in a matter of minutes. But we have issues in finding people who are going around and causing mayhem in our country.
Yes.
Yes.
The
things were put in place. Yeah? Now, how many persons think, no, realistically, no. How many persons have died from COVID since the time versus how many persons have died from crime and violence since the time? Do the math.
You know something else, Bobby? Over the weekend, as a matter of fact, from last week, Thursday, I think it was, the constabulary force had a big show at the arena where they showed, they presented to the public the level of technology and personnel that they have in place, which, you know, was very impressive. But you know what is missing? That level of technology which was on show last week is not being used. In other words, it is not being used to tackle the crime problem.
Precisely, because I'm going to ask the question of that which you saw in your community, which I think is troubled by crime. Have you felt it?
If what? What did you say?
I'm saying.
Yes.
In your community which you live
and
operate, have you felt that which you saw?
No. That's what I'm saying. No. No. No, it is not. And therefore, one of the...
You know what happened? I don't cut it, but you know what happened? When bring back again to a fight and did earlier on in terms of our referendum to become a republic. Yeah? That we are trying to display a show. It's a show display.
Yes.
So we have things and we look pretty. We want to look pretty. Yeah? But when you check the nitty-gritty, when you go down to the meat of the matter, yeah? We are far from the truth.
Yes, we need for example, sir, the crime situation in the country is so pervasive, it is so dangerous that, you know.
What we are doing, you know, I don't know if you realize, is that even persons who used to be calm and act in a civilized manner, they have become uncivilized. Now you realize that. And it's not their fault, you know, but it's because of the environment that we are facing. So everybody becomes defensive and evil.
I mean, every day the killings.
Yeah.
And therefore, we would like to see the more attention. I think every Jamaican is in agreement with this, or most Jamaicans, that we would like to see more efforts dealing with the crime problem. We have to do that. We have to do that. Well, Bobby, I want to tell you something that we have to continue this discussion because we have exhausted our time.
Okay.
So, you know, this platform is open for discussions and.
Yeah, well, we can continue. We can continue at the same time tomorrow.
Yes.
I was looking for you for 4:30.
Yes.
We can continue at the same time tomorrow.
Yes.
Or 5 o'clock.
Yes.
If time permits you.
Okay.
So, send me a text and let me know if that's what time.
Okay, I will communicate with you. And remember that
I will be out and going to the there are some I know I'm exhausted, but I can be on tomorrow.
I will communicate with you. And remember that we have unfinished business.
Yeah, man. I'm getting to that.
Okay.
I'm getting there.
Thank you very much, Bobby. Yes. And that was our businessman, supporter, and friend, Bobby. Well, we have come to the end of our programs for today. And we want to thank our listeners and viewers and for spending time with us this evening. And we want you to continue listening to Rebel Radio and stay tuned and keep abreast of what is happening on your station. I want to thank our technical operator, Bishop Gordon, and as I said, to my loyal visitors and viewers for taking time out of their busy schedule to listen to us on Rebel Radio. And remember to subscribe. Remember, strike our button and subscribe to our station. Until Wednesday, when we'll be back with live programs. Just want you to stay safe and healthy. This is Rebel Radio and I am Desmond Richards. But remember that you can stay tuned to us and Google where we are 24 hours. Have a good night.